Everything we do also goes through an A/B test, so you can have that scale of testing as well to say, we have changed the behavior of this subset of a group. Okay, this is right for our business, but that doesn't go without talking to customers typically first. I think ultimately everybody is sort of different now and we need to cater to that. And I'll say, if you deliver the right solution for that segment will deliver for you in performance. And so you can launch an image matching search and it may have really low usage, but the group that is using it is of high value, highly engaged, and will deliver conversion, I think. And so I think that's really ultimately where we're headed.
What's the time people make decision to buy a $50,000 art piece? Is it similar time for someone who purchased a $5,000 cruise trip? Is it similar time or a lot longer or like I don't know. Welcome to US Stories. I'm your host, Lihong Hicken. I've spent my career obsessed about how we understand what users actually think. So when Chris and I helped scale usertesting.com from zero to IPO, we thought we had figured it out. But AI has changed everything. The speed of building is now 10 times faster than the speed of listening. So Chris and I built They Said. We want to use vibe user testing to match the speed of vibe coding. I'm here to talk to visionary leaders who want to deliver great experiences to their customers. My guest today is Jodi O'Prandy, VP of Product Manager at First Dips. Jodi, I'm really excited to talk to you. You have incredible track record of driving massive revenue growth at scale, from leading the cruise flight strategy at TripAdvisor and Priceline to now overseeing the product vision for the world's leading luxury marketplace First Day. So I'm just like, at first I envisioning like Prada, people arriving, and then I was like, okay, market queen arriving, and finally women product leaders designing for women consumer brands. I'm just like, okay, finally someone who understands your users. But anyway, you move from high volume travel to high value luxury goods. That's a big difference, both exciting. What is the biggest difference in the vibe of a user booking a $500 flight versus a user considering a 50,000 piece of a fine art?
Yeah, I think it's a good question. It's funny, there's still overlap in the same problems, user problems, which is kind of exciting. I'll say I've been in the travel space for a while in my product career, most of my product career, and the problems to solve were always about comparison and pricing and always about trust building. And I'll say in a marketplace, those problems are still the same. There's always price consideration and always trust factors. And I'll say like price point aside here with a luxury marketplace, at the end of the day, we're delivering a product to our consumers and the ease of use and being able to pull out the price and feeling trusting of the price and that experience of like start to finish and discovery to purchase and in a marketplace even further from purchase is really the same problems to solve. And so that's what makes it interesting. I'll say the stakes are higher in a
Yes.
$50,000 art piece because the information that a consumer is looking for and those trust factors are different than a commodity like a flight, as an example. And so the trust factors that need to happen are very different. And I'll say at times, the tactics or the solutions that we're putting out for our consumers are different but still solve the same problem. So for example, with a $50,000 piece of art, if I were a purchaser, I might want to talk to who's selling that just to
Okay.
feel more personal with it. And so being able to talk one on one with the seller and even just a quick, like one question, even if the question can be answered on the site or on the page, just knowing that there's a personal like touch behind it, a person behind the piece is really important and a trust factor for a buyer versus on the flip side of a flight, the trust factors are like, is this an airline I know? Pulling out what are the airline stats? Are they always on time or are they not on time? And so
Yeah.
being able to pull out the scalable stats are
Yes.
really important for, a commodity based item versus a unique piece or a more individualized piece is really like, what is the personal touch or the personal connection? Still solving the same problem of trust, though.
Sounds good. Jody, can I ask you a silly question for someone who never bought a 50,000 art piece? Okay, I guess I guess what's the time people make decision to buy a $50,000 art piece? Is
Mm.
it similar time for someone who purchased a $5,000 cruise trip? Is it similar time or a lot longer or like I don't know, give me a picture.
Yeah, no, it's very interesting. User behavior, it's funny enough, with a cruise, user behavior is pretty similar. A person may visit that art piece on the site multiple times, but make a move. And a move could be anything. A move can be an engagement like, favoriting it and saving it to like their collection of saved items that they want to come back to. It might be that they're reaching out to that seller via a chat. It might be that they're adding it to cart, but looking at it for a while. With a cruise, however, similar. They're comparison shopping between multiple itineraries. They're looking at the different cruise lines. They're coming back to the site multiple times because a cruise, interestingly enough, is for a lot of people and I don't want to say all consumers, but a lot of people is sort of like a once annual or lifetime sort of like trip, and so it does have a longer purchase path, and so people may look at it multiple times. They might compare prices elsewhere, even off your site and on other sites, and art is similar, and so there's multiple times that people are kind of coming on and off. Again, the pattern of purchase for art may be more back and forth with a seller and talking to somebody versus, comparing via other sites and going on and off, but the timeline of multiple times visiting is similar.
Oh, I see. Interesting. Because people always this is how like human make decisions.
Yeah,
Interesting. So either at TripAdvisor or at First Dip, all your designs is not about the look and it's also about moving the needle on conversion. So oftentimes I have to say like if a design make people had to pull out a mental calculator, you have lost. You have to make it super easy that this is a good deal and it's worth
yeah,
it, like have the impulsive to the add to the cart and
yes.
then just have the impulsive buy. So when you are making this kind of design or new addition to the product or new feature, how do you do testing or usability testing or do some kind of testing to make sure that the new thing you put it on the website, the new experience you put on the website is going to reach the conversion goal that you desired? How do you make sure that it will happen? Or just make guesses and then later on look at the conversion result later on to see like it works. Oh, it didn't work. Like how do you make that sure that happen?
Yeah, I'll say in the world that I live in today, twofolds. So the first thing is talking to customers directly. We have focus groups. We're constantly putting experiences, conversations, surveys in front of our customers to get that feedback directionally. And again, that's anecdotal from our customers, but we ask directly, is
Mhm.
this something that you want to see? Is this helpful to making your decision? And let our customers tell us directly. Everything we do also goes through an A/B test, so you can have that scale of testing as well to say, we have changed the behavior of this subset of a group. Okay, this is right for our business, but that doesn't go without talking to customers typically first.
Yeah, totally. I remember at TripAdvisor, you guys were also a user testing.com customer. I remember
Mhm.
I actually do a lot of TripAdvisor navigation and the filter that help do a lot of the tests early days, like how to find a cruise, do the
Oh,
filter,
yes.
and
Did a
all
lot
that.
of
Yes, but I think usability testing is not about whether or not can the users find the button. Is the system working? Is also about would you buy it?
yeah.
Would you spend the money, right? It's the motivation we also wanted to test. So, but you also mentioned that you talk to the customers. I'm actually surprised to hear that you spend a lot of effort trying to do the focus group. A lot of people don't do the in person anymore. What's the reason you are still keeping the manual in person research rather than do a lot of this unmoderated or moderate online study? That can you tell
Yeah.
me a little bit about that?
Yeah, I'll say A good portion is certainly moderated online. I'll say, like, the reason for that too is I think what it brings to the table is the ease of use a lot of times. You can see directly somebody struggling, clicking around, not, pausing with hesitation. Like, I think those things are sometimes missed at times in other formats. And I think personally, I think it's really great to, whether it be moderated on camera or in person, like it is really cool to see when somebody might not explicitly say, I don't understand, but you can see it in their behavior. I can look
Like
at a screen
the
and be like,
body
oh,
language or
yeah.
like the physical, the cues. That's very rich data. Oftentimes we don't have the luxury of gathering online or like, the moderate. That I think if you have the wallet or the resources, definitely do that, right? I'm so happy you had the resources to do that. That's awesome. Can you share a story where like any of those user behavior or story that actually change how you guys build product, have a big aha moment that lead to a big breakthrough on how you guys design experiences?
Yeah, for sure. I'll take you back to the TripAdvisor days because I think it's a really funny one where, I was a product manager at the time at TripAdvisor, and we were working on it was right when, and the timing of this was when everybody was using Google Flights. Like, it was the best product out there by far. The ease of their filters and just everything. It was fast, it was zippy. The whole experience was just fantastic. To note, I still really like it. But I wanted to redesign an entire page of search results. I wanted to jump to the end, which at times can be beneficial as a product manager in your A/B testing, and at times it is not the best possible route to take because you can't learn and iterate. And I wanted to just rip off the filters and how people were using them and exposing them. And we went from a left rail of filters that were really, slow, but also exposed a lot of information, so to speak, to moving it to top pills, just like Google Flights, where the filters were on the top of the page. It was very condensed and there were just little pills and you just selected. And I was so confident in this. I didn't put it in front of users. I put engineers to work. They spent a ton of time redesigning the page and I put it in an A/B test and it totally crashed and burned. And then, you know, my boss at the time was like, "You spent so much time on this. What are you doing? You wasted a ton of engineering time. You didn't talk to users. You were so confident. And the results, what are you going to do with your iteration now?" And frankly, then we took the design to customers, our customers. And what we found was that our customers are for cruise are older demographic. They tended to use other sites like TripAdvisor, like Expedia, for example, that were still sort of in a I don't wanna say, but at the time, they were in sort of an older, school design that used left filters. Priceline, Booking.com, Expedia, all of them were sort of still using this sort of old design, and we wanted to use the Google Flights design, but cruise is a very different product from flights. Flights can be, people book flights, they comparison shop, they want to go fast, they can quickly look, where cruise requires a lot more information in a consideration. And so you
Right.
need all those filters. You need to know, if you wanted to depart from Miami versus Fort Lauderdale, we took that
Yeah.
filter away because we wanted to make it as clean and frictionless as possible was the hypothesis. But turns out people want when they were shopping for cruise at the time, by the way, it may have changed now, but people wanted all of the potential options that they could filter down to see the best possible results versus that clean and simple, couple of choices in terms of filtering.
Wow.
So there you have it.
Wow, lesson learned. It's
Lesson learned.
usually it's like sometimes I like yeah, prove me wrong. I'd rather prove wrong. Lesson learned. It's good. You always go back to those ones that the mistake you learn. And always like wanting. I want to spend 5 minutes talk about the future of e-commerce, and then I think you're the most expert person to discuss about this. So I feel like the AI has changed our consumer body completely, and sometimes as people in the industry is like, how do we design this website now?
Mhm.
We have some old school people who just want those filters, right? Then
Mhm.
we have some advanced people who's like, who's gonna do those filters? I'm just gonna chat with AI. It's like,
Yep.
I'm gonna look at, cruise that does this. AI find me this, right? Then another group of even more advanced people is like, now I'm gonna do that. Gonna build the AI agent. They're gonna do that, right? And all the different kind level of people using different the internet completely different.
Mhm.
So now it's like, how are we gonna build digital experiences? We're gonna be able to take care of the older people who want the website as it is. We want people who wanted to interact with the AI agents, and we want a version of the digital experience who gonna build for the you know, we need to be able to like maybe user test for the AI agent, right?
Yes.
I was like, what do we do now? Like, and then there's a concept of like, there's no persona now. Everybody is unique. Like a personal experience for everything. Like, where do you see this is all over the place? Where do you see we're heading to?
I mean, opinion of one here, but you sort of just described it. Everybody is different. And so we need to service in a personalized experience. And to me, personalization is key. I also think that, especially in a world of, high price point items, you need to be able to accommodate any sort of user and any sort of user behavior. And so, in the example of the filtering that I just mentioned for travel, some people may want zippy filters and quick results and be able to comparison shop right there. Some people may want to be able to go directly to exactly what they want and they don't want options. And that's how they shop. They may have a long tailed search. They may have a natural language search. They may have an image search via AI. People are doing fantastic right now. And so I think and using agents, everybody is different, and I think especially in an e-commerce world, we need to deliver on what people want, and that may mean a lot of different things. I don't think that there's a one size fits all for e-commerce now. It's really about the different customer segments that you have. We still have people that skew older and are less comfortable with technology and may just want to use standard filtering and just get the best search results for them. We have people, in a younger generation that want to speak directly to an AI agent and deliver, I want this, that, and the other thing. And then that agent spits out exactly their results.
Yeah,
But
totally.
like me in the middle ground that saw a shirt in a store or on a person, took a screenshot and is like, find me an exact match to this blue blouse. And I think ultimately everybody is sort of different now, and we need to cater to that, and I'll say, if you deliver the right solution for that segment will deliver for you in
Yeah.
performance, and so, you can launch an image matching search, and it may have really low usage, but the group that is using it is of high value, highly engaged, and will deliver conversion, I think, and so I think that's really ultimately where we're headed.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So, Jody, I know companies like Amazon are dedicating in finding this ultimate hyper personalized initiative program for that. Are you guys working on something similar or too much of research?
No, yeah, absolutely, we are. I'll say, we're always working on personalization. The biggest learning is constantly learning and
They're
iterating.
constantly learning. Yeah. I
Um
actually yesterday on my guest, I interviewed a scientist who have invented a system, not only have hyper personalized system, but also have a way to predict the user's behavior before it happens using the biology system. So if you guys are interested, happy to introduce you guys, and then you guys can nerd up and talk about this. They have this technology, but they don't know how to apply this
Hmm,
into the real life application. So if you
super
guys
interesting. Yeah,
interested in talking, that would be interesting to connect. I'm happy to connect you to.
yeah, thank you.
Cool. All right. I'll spend 2 minutes in do some rapid fire questions. So one of the problem right now is the lot of startup and younger product builders having problem finding user testing tools because all the user testing players are acquired by private equity. firms. Like my old company, usertesting.com, has been acquired by private equity firms, and they acquire user Zoom, what users do, a user interview. So everything right now is unaffordable. So of course you have a lot of budgets, but people who are out in the market, what do you recommend? What's your go-to user testing tool right now? And yeah,
Yeah, right now we're using Sprig,
okay,
and we just migrated over to them, and so far so great, I'll say. There's
okay,
a ton of
okay.
capabilities. It's a real plug and play setup, and everybody from designers, product managers, marketers are feeling comfortable like launching surveys. We have researchers obviously talking to people and moderating directly, but really easy to integrate, and I think ultimately has been great to work with so
Cool, awesome. And if you had a magical wand, what would make gathering feedback dramatically easier?
getting feedback dramatically easier is the willingness for groups to talk. I think, like, volume wise, making sure that we have readily available customers, readily available segments of people, maybe potentially a little bit of a larger scale, I think is important.
Your own group of customers who are willing to provide feedback.
Or not customers, even, potential
Pa-
customers or
uh,
demographics, being able to reach
Panels.
people for
Yeah.
sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, cool, cool. That's great. That's something we do have as well. We are like a AI version of user testing.com that have panels and are also easier to get the user test to your customers or potential
Yeah.
customers that can pop up on the website and product. Cool. That's great. Thank you for the advice. I definitely have to check out the product you mentioned.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap it up. Thank you for showing us, Jody, that behind every great experiences, behind every great revenue number is a human who just wants a seamless, high trust experience. And for those who are listening, if you're ready to vibe testing your product at the speed you code, visit us at theysaid.io. Theysaid is created by the original team that created usertesting.com. And I'm Lihong Hicken, and this is US Stories. I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you, Jody.
Thank you.